Habarigani. Habarigani. Welcome. Welcome. Habarigani. Habarigani. Welcome. We're live on Instagram and Facebook. Happy to be here on this fourth day of Kwanzaa. Yeah, happy to be here. This has been amazing, spending this time with so many of you these last few days. I'm happy to be able to be here again today. And as they say in my faith tradition, if the Lord tarries, I will be with you on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, live. Welcome, Habarigani. Habarigani. For those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Francino Puta. I am in Fresno, California. Yeah, that's home. Hey, my nephew just joined. Hey, Esteban. Oh, yeah, I have a family of all races and creeds and colors. Yes, indeed. Habarigani, everyone. Welcome. So glad to have you join me today. Hi. Thank you for your hearts. We're live on Facebook and Instagram. So whichever is your pleasure. It's actually kind of interesting for me to see who I see on Facebook and who I see on Instagram. Hi, Vina, my dear friend. Yeah, so good to know you're there. Yeah, Vina just did a wonderful TED Talk. Vina Howard, look her up. Beautiful story. Yeah. She's one of my colleagues from Fresno State. Yeah, welcome everyone. Habarigani. This is our fourth day of Kwanzaa. Yeah, welcome. Glad you all are here. I've had a good time. A really good time finding stories, reading stories. I have another story for you tonight. It's a short story. I think my favorite so far has been The Seven Spools of Thread. Oh man, that was a beautiful story. But I also told you the first one I did, Kwanzaa Celebration, the pop-up book. I love that one. Kids love that one. I have another book I want to share with you tonight too, as you are thinking about doing Kwanzaa, interested in learning about Kwanzaa. You know, again, to see folks' Kumba creativity in the literature that's put out around Kwanzaa that provides different aspects to help us in our learning about this cultural holiday. If you just saw that door open, that was Oscar. He just banged the door because his mama just left and he came in, so that's okay. Yeah. Hey, Melissa Harris, Dr. Melissa Harris. Yes, ma'am. Dr. Melissa Harris, one of our students from Fresno State who got her doctorate from Howard University, also the alma mater of one of my daughters, and has a teaching position in the East. So we're very proud of her. We love you too. I love you and your family. Yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome. Do I see my friend Kathy Reed Bevington? Hey girl. That's my buddy. You can look at Just Around the Bend. She does some amazing cookies. Look at some of my Instagram posts from my anniversary. You'll see some cookies that she did for us. It's amazing what this woman can do. Amazing. I'm very proud of her. Yeah. So I'm going to get started. Today is the 4th day of Kwanzaa. I try to always remember to give my respects to Dr. Karenga, who is the founder of Kwanzaa. He is here in California, in Long Beach, California. Sorry, that's Oscar, whose mama left. He's sad. He's sad. We'll see if we can help him out. Oscar, come. Come. Come on. And yeah, he's the founder of Kwanzaa. I also like to always talk about the official Kwanzaa website. The best place to go to know you're getting authentic and accurate information about Kwanzaa and its rituals. We were talking yesterday. Those of you who joined me yesterday, my youngest, Wachuku, joined me. She's on her way to rehearsal. She's going to be in a play at the Selma Arts Center. The SpongeBob musical. How fun is that? And we were talking about, how to light the candles, because one of our listeners, followers, asked, am I lighting my candles right? Okay. And then we explained that the red candle should be on your right if you are behind the Kanara, which is the ideal way to do it. The Kanara is the candle holder. And yesterday, as you see, I have still up there some different types of Kanaras. And you light the black candle first, which is unity. And then you light the red candle for Kuji Chagalia. And then yesterday we lit the green candle for Ujamaa. All right? And so that's how that goes. And then, oh, I'm so sorry you all about Oscar. I'm so sorry. But it's too cold for him to be outside. Come here, Oscar. Come here. Come here. Come on. Sit. Good boy. Right. So I'm going to light the candles today. And that's all information you can find in the book and on the official Kwanzaa website, okay? So I'm going to do like I do every day. I start off with a Habari Gani, and I ask you to put in the chat what the principle of the day is. Again, the tradition with Kwanzaa, I'm a little distracted because of Oscar. It kind of cuts my heart when he's whining like that. I'll say the principle, you write in I'll say Habari Gani, you write in what the principle of the day is. I see folks are already writing it in. Hi, Anthony. And I see they're a grown woman now, but they were a child in our Saturday school and the daughter of my friend, Patrice Imani. So glad to see you. I saw that you were there yesterday. So good to see you. Your child is beautiful. So good to see you. So here we go. Habari Gani means what's the news, what's happening, what's going on, what you know good, all of that kind of stuff. And you respond with the principle of the day. So, Habari Gani! And I see so many of you in there have already put Ujamaa. Ujamaa. That is today's principle, cooperative economics. And I'm going to read directly from Dr. Karenga's book today in terms of what does Ujamaa mean. To build our own businesses, control the economics of our own community, and share in all its work and wealth. And he talks about shared social work and the work necessary to achieve that. Because it is work. Oscar, come on now. Come on now. She'll be back. The work is necessary to do that. And I was thinking, in terms of cooperative economics, that for me it's not a new concept. I was also thinking, and I'm going to be really honest with you, there's a terminology that is out there right now that I hope folks are really leaning into and understanding, and that is that concept of anti-Blackness, right? And I have found that oftentimes folks of various cultures, when they unite together, when they work together, when they practice cooperative economics, nobody bats an eye. But when folks of Black African heritage talk about cooperative economics, buy Black, support Black businesses, it seems problematic to people. And so we just have to think about that. Why is that the case? My dad used to always tell us, if a Black man owns a gas station and you have to drive past 2 or 3 gas stations to get to his gas station, you go to that gas station. That was my dad telling us that in the 50s and the 60s, right? So I grew up with that concept. And then the impact of oppression will often make folks think that Black businesses are not as good or not as professional, right? And so we just have to watch that. And then again, if we are a business owner, we want to strive for excellence, right? So there's a mix of all of that with cooperative economics. But that's what today's principle is about. Supporting our own businesses. That's why, it really struck me as I was looking, because I would like any Kwanzaa book I saw I would buy. And now I curate it a little differently now. My Kwanzaa candles that I purchased via Amazon are from a Black entrepreneur, right? And I was very intentional about that. And that is not to eliminate anyone else, but to support particular people. So there that is. So I have already lit the unity candle, and so I am going to light our Kwanzaa candles. So I'm so happy to have this Kanara up with these candles so that I could light it in the way that it's technically supposed to be lit, which is that you take, I had worked to make sure those were in there really securely, or so I thought. Are you all laughing at me? So you take the unity candle, and with it, you light the other candles. So the unity candle is Umoja. That's the Black candle. Red, that first red candle is Kuji Chagulia. Then this candle is Ujamaa, collective work and responsibility. And then we will light today's Ujamaa. Here we go. And so I wanted to share another, as I've been telling you, I have lots of different Kwanzaa books. I wanted to share another Kwanzaa book with you outside of the story that I'm going to read. This one, it's backwards for you all, I'm sorry about that, but it's called The 7 Days of Kwanzaa, How to Celebrate Them. This is also by Angela Shelf Medeiros. So the other book I read the other day was by Angela Medeiros. Aha. And a lot of these books I got through Scholastic. How many parents are out there that when they had the book fairs at schools, I would buy up so many different books. So I was going through my books like, where did I get these? So the Scholastic book fairs. What I like about this one is it is very descriptive. Of course, it talks about how Kwanzaa began, but it also gives you information on how to celebrate Kwanzaa in a very helpful way. It talks about preparing a karamu, but the thing about, it also has activities and games and things for the children. Like it has how to make an African toe puppet, and also how to create jewelry, which could be the zawadi or the gifts for the children. Because remember, part of the zawadi is it's not getting super soakers or Nintendos or Xboxes. It's getting educational gifts, handmade gifts, family heirlooms. It's very intentional about what types of things go with the zawadi, the gifts for the children. But the other piece that I really like about this book is it has a section that it calls 7 Celebration Stories. And so it tells stories of 7 African Americans in our history. Some that we know, like Wilma Rudolph, but others that we may not even know about, like Cheyenne Webb. But folks are in here like Ida B. Wells, Marcus Garvey, Fannie Lou Hamer. So those stories are in here. And how great is that to have that history? And each story in here represents a particular principle. So I wanted to show you this book. And as I've been doing, I'll take a picture of it and post it and put the name of the author. Again, if you're interested in celebrating Kwanzaa or just learning more about it, it's really a great book. I think Oscar's going to calm down now. Papa's home. Thank you for your patience. So last night I read My First Kwanzaa. That was the name of that book. And there were some things in that book which were problematic. Wachuku and I both talked about it, and it's okay. But it allows us to think critically. I think one of the things in particular was with yesterday's principle, which is collective work and responsibility, as well as today's principle, cooperative economics. The author did not use that language. They used different language. And our assumptions or presumptions were that they maybe thought that the language was too challenging for children. And we thought it would be important to use the language that Dr. Karenga uses for this holiday that he created. It's that self-determination, right? We get to determine the language we use. So someone else takes our tradition and then maybe tries to simplify it. Yeah. So we get to think critically about that. And otherwise, it's a great book, right? And this individual does folk stories and looks into different folk cultures of different ethnic groups, and that's a noble profession, right? But it's always important to make sure you're checking in with the group to see if you are on track, yeah? A little critique. So this one though, so that was My First Kwanzaa. This is My First Kwanzaa Book. So a little different title. And this is by, I love their name, Deborah M. Newton Chocolate. That's their name. And it's illustrated by Cal Massey, my first Kwanzaa book. I've really appreciated looking at the images in these different books, and the way they have the Kanara is correct, the red here, black in the middle, green on this side. All of those things are important. My first Kwanzaa book. Again, lovely illustrations. Lovely illustrations. And they have an introduction that you can read. And then the story begins. When Mama says, "It's Kwanzaa time," Daddy helps me dress up in an African shirt. Mama dresses like an African queen. And if you'll notice here on each page, they have the principal and the appropriately lit candle. And Grandma comes visiting with good things to eat. When Mama says, "It's Kwanzaa time," Daddy flies our red, black, and green flag. That flag is called the Bendera. And I will tell you something about the red, black, and green flag. We talked about the colors of Kwanzaa, red, black, green, red being for the blood of the people, black being for the people, for us, and green being for the land and for our future. But again, if you look on the official Kwanzaa website, this is the traditional black national flag. You see it all over the place. But Dr. Karenga's Kwanzaa flag, he actually has it with black at the top because he said the people are the most important part. So if this was accurate, based on Dr. Karenga's Kwanzaa, it would be black, red, and then green. When Mama says it's Kwanzaa time, Daddy flies a red, black, and green flag. Mama hangs our map of the motherland. And I help light the colorful Kwanzaa candles. If you remember last night, I showed you an option of a Kanara that used battery-operated candles, which makes it safer for children. When Mama says it's Kwanzaa time, we tell family members stories each night to make the holiday special. When Mama says it's Kwanzaa time, Uncle Preety reads me stories about Africa. You see they have instruments. This instrument here is called an ishaka. You see that in a lot of African countries. That's a very popular instrument. Dr. Quarles, how are you? Thank you for joining. When Mama says it's Kwanzaa time, it's time for a family reunion with aunts from Georgia, with my uncle from the Army, and with cousins from all over. Family reunion, so important, such an important part of our culture. I have my extended family's reunion coming up this summer. All things going well. It was actually scheduled last year, 2021, but of course, pandemic and the family in 2020 knew let's put it to 2022. So we hope that things will settle down a little bit so that our reunion will take place in Atlanta, Georgia. I think I've talked on this this year about that I come from a large extended family. Some of my family members are on this call, are viewing in with you. Hi, Miriam. So good to see you. One of my former students had the honor of serving on her thesis committee. Um, so we've put our family union off. My grandparents, if you weren't on the other call, had 19 children. And I always say, yes, one mother, one father, 19 children. And the offspring come together every 3 years, traditionally, every 3 years. But because of pandemic, it's been every 4 years. My husband's trying to say something to me. What are you saying, dear?
3 sets of twins.
Yes, that's true. He was mentioning the fact that part of what makes up that 19 is 3 sets of twins, but that's still 16 births, right? So we're hoping to get together. We've done a census of our family. There's over 700 of us that are offsprings from my grandparents, Zach and Maddie Broaddus. So if you know any Broadduses, those are probably my people. I say probably because Snoop Dogg is a Broaddus, and that's a different group. That's a different group. Let's continue with our story. And on the last day of Kwanzaa, we share gifts and hugs that last until the next Kwanzaa comes. Kwanzaa. I'm going to read her afterwards. The father of Kwanzaa is Maulana Karenga, an African-American scholar and social activist. Kwanzaa was established in 1966 as the only original African-American holiday. Kwanzaa celebrates African harvest and the beliefs and values of traditional African customs. During Kwanzaa, we remember that while we are Americans, our roots are in Africa, the motherland. The 7 principles of Kwanzaa, Nguzo Saba, teach values we should practice every day, not just during Kwanzaa. That's a really important part of Kwanzaa. These are principles that should be practiced every day. You know, it's really interesting that Kwanzaa is, hi Sybil, is an African-American holiday. And we know that this year, we just got another American holiday that is related to folks of Black African heritage. It became a national holiday, and that is Juneteenth. And it's really interesting because there are some, folks were saying, rightfully so, that we need police reform, we need also economic development in the Black community, and the feeling that a holiday was not important. And I say we need both. And I say this from my own thinking, but also for those of you who may not know, the grandmother of Juneteenth, Miss Opal Lee, who was there at the White House. If you watched it happen and watched President Biden come and kneel down in front of Miss Opal Lee and thank her for all of her hard work. Well, Opal Lee's my cousin. Her mother and my father were brothers and sisters. And you know how you have distant cousins, you kind of know about them, but my family, because we come together regularly, we know each other. So Miss Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth, is a Broaddus, so we are cousins. And so when people look at my work as in terms of social justice, diversity, equity, and inclusion, yeah, it comes naturally when you're a Broaddus that you do that kind of work. Yes, so I wanted to share that with you. I think this might be my shortest Kwanzaa night. I appreciate you coming. I try really hard to start right at 5 and share a story with you. This is what I'm doing this year. if you'd like more details about Kwanzaa, last year I gave more details about each principle and things like that. And so you can go on Instagram to my highlights. I have put Kwanzaa 2020 in my highlights, so you can certainly go back and take a look at those. Thank you all for being here. I will be here every day this week, live at 5. And thank you for those of you who gave me feedback when I asked whether or not you would be interested in me just on a regular basis doing a story time. And many of you said, yes, I would watch, I would be there. And so keep your eyes open. Set your alerts so that Instagram or Facebook will let you know when I'm going live. Yes. And we're going to end. My beloved is reminding me, like, don't forget to do the Harambes. We are going to end with doing our Harambes. So tell me, put in the chat, do you really do the Harambes while I'm doing them? Just put a heart in the chat if you do the Harambes with me, or you just stand there and watch me. Because I would love to know that we are really doing it together. Are you doing those Harambes? You're welcome, Anthony. April said, I really do. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Zora says, thank you for the Kwanzaa. Bedtime story. I love it. I love it. So thank you. I see lots of hearts. So I will be doing more stories throughout the year. So I will try to give you as much of a heads up as I can. And I think I'll pretty much be doing live at 5, okay? All right. Yes, everybody's saying they really do the Harambes. So let's do them, all right? We raise our hands, and Harambe means let's pull together. Let's all work together, all right? And we're going to do 7 Harambes. My beloved helped me last time because I lost count. So let's do our Harambes. Are we ready? Harambe. 1, 2, 3. Harambe! 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. Thank you. Happy Kwanzaa. Thank you, Kathya. See you all. See you tomorrow, okay?